All right, everybody. Hello, 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 and welcome to the presentation. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, hello. So yeah, we're gonna have a good time. Looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are as well. Let me fix that a little bit. There we go. All right. So yeah, we're just putting this up here. There we go. Okay, everybody. So I'm Bishop Long, and I appreciate you guys being here. And yeah, we're here. We are here, and hopefully you're having a good time, and you're enjoying it wherever you are in this world. And for those of you on TikTok, we're going to put sub chat only on because we don't like trolls. Okay, there we go. That's how we take care of that issue. All right, everybody. If you want to, yeah, it is snowing. It is snowing in Kentucky. We've gotten quite a bit of snow actually. So I'm surprised. I'm very, very happy, really happy right now that we still have electricity. Thank God for that. That's a good thing. That is a good thing, and I'm very, very happy. Yeah, because we had a pretty bad ice storm and a lot of ice actually, and so there was quite a few people who actually lost their power. And I don't mind the snow. I don't mind the snow. I just don't like the ice. I don't like the ice. I am not. No. I don't. I'm definitely not an ice kind of guy, because when you have ice, you can't drive. Electricity goes off. It's just no fun at all. Yeah. So a lot of people are. I have some friends down in Florida. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just out on the beach. I'm like, oh yeah. All right, everybody. So for a couple things here. We want you to go to a website. All right. And that website is kgradb.com. All right. KGRAD is in dog, B is in bicycle.com. We want to make sure that you put Bishop as your promo code. Make sure you subscribe because you're going to get 30% off of your subscription. So they have some really amazing shows. This show airs over there. So again, KGRAD is in dog, B is in bicycle.com. Put Bishop as your promo code. Don't forget. Now, also, if you want to go to my website, that's simple too. It's bishopjameslong, LONG.com. Bishopjameslong.com. There you go. So you can head on over there if you want. Also, I want to remind everybody that we do have classes online. And you can take angelology, demonology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. And you can take all 4 classes for 100% free. 100% free. And so you just simply go to bishopjameslong.com, click on the class link. And there you go. It's all there for you. And then finally, if you want to go to the church's website, it's usocc.org. usocc.org. That is the church's website. Head on over there. And I want to remind everybody that tonight we do have night prayer. So if you'd like to, James, so I got distracted. If you would like to follow along with us this evening on night prayer, you can certainly do so. We would love to have you guys. We start at 9:50 or so p.m. Eastern, and then we officially start at 10. We go live on TikTok, by the way. So we guys go 9:50 p.m. Eastern, and then we go live on all of our other formats at 9:50 as well, 9:45 or so. Okay. So you can watch it. Go to my Facebook profile. There you go. Yeah, and so it's tonight. So happy Friday to you wherever you are in this beautiful, beautiful world. I want to touch base very, very quickly, and then we're going to go into our topic tonight. So everybody probably has heard about the TikTok issue. All right, we know that. We know. I did listen to some of the arguments. I mean, there was a few. There were a few justices that you could tell that they kind of agreed with TikTok, but it seemed that most of them probably did not. So I'm not an attorney, but from the questioning and how they approach the questioning, it does seem like to me that the ban might be upheld. So that's not good news. That's not good news for a lot of people who. It's not good news for us. I mean, we have this wonderful community that we built there on TikTok. So we just don't know. We don't know. Now, there can be an administrative pause. They can choose to do that to where not say, okay, the 19th, no, we're not going to ban it, and we're going to give an administrative pause to it, and then of course Trump can we can fix that issue. I want to pass this out to everybody. Everybody needs to know this. Please remember that if you go and you download Lemon 8, okay, if you download Lemon 8, Lemon 8 is a sister app to TikTok. Okay, so TikTok is owned by ByteDance, and so is Lemon 8. So they are both owned by the same company. A lot of people are going to Lemon 8 because it's a sister company to TikTok. Folks, you're wasting your time. I mean, I hate to say this, but you're wasting your time. Because if, in fact, TikTok does get banned, then Lemon 8 is also going to get banned. So you have to just keep that in mind. So stupid video. So you have to keep that in mind. So if you do this, you just need to be aware that if TikTok gets banned, Lemon 8 will as well. So it's kind of like, you just kind of got to be aware of that. I did download a new app. Look, and I know there's a lot of other news stories. I get it. But this is also a news story. So, this affects a lot of people's livelihood. I mean, this is what a lot of people do for a living. This is how they pay their rent. This is how they pay their mortgage. And there's a lot of small businesses that use TikTok. So this is life altering for many people. And so while some people may say, well, TikTok's not that big of a story. Yeah, it is to a person who is a small business owner, and they've been able to create, make a living, and TikTok was able to get them that living. Well, now that's going to be taken away. There's a lot of people who are freaking out right now. So yeah, that's a big story too. And I understand there are other stories. Yep, we'll get to those too. But this is a big issue for a lot of people right now that will be directly affected in a negative way. And so this is people's livelihood. A lot of people have expressed that they're afraid that they're going to go out of business. So we're talking 170 million people use TikTok, and there's a lot of small business. I have a friend of mine, and he makes furniture. And especially he does. Oh, thank you very much. I've never seen that before. Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. He builds furniture, and he builds really does a beautiful job with church furniture. And he has just, before TikTok, he was struggling, and then he decided to jump on TikTok, and that saved his business. And now he's terrified. I mean, he has a family. And so he's really afraid. And there's a lot of people that are, because it makes you kind of, when you are a small business owner, you work for yourself, you have to figure it out. Otherwise you go homeless and you lose your home, you lose your business. So this is you got to understand, this is a very big life altering situation for many people. So while most of us use TikTok for fun or for entertainment or for theology, and we don't make our living off of it, there are many people who do. And so we just say, yeah, it's tough. It's going to be tough for a lot of people. And there's a couple people, 7-8 million people, 8 million followers, and people have grind and put day in and day out and work for years on TikTok to build that community. Thank you. And now all of a sudden that's going to be gone. That's a lot. That's a hell of a lot. I mean, if you had, if I had 8 million followers, my God, if I had 8 million followers, and then all of a sudden the government says, we're going to take it away, that would affect anybody. So it just, yeah. So let's certainly keep that in your thoughts and prayers, because that's a big issue. That's causing a lot of anxiety and a lot of frustration. And of course we have the situation with the fires in California. We know about that. So there's a lot that we have to, keep in our thoughts and prayers, because there's a lot of things going on, but we just don't know. We don't know. We just simply don't know what's going to happen with TikTok. And Do not, but I'm just giving you this is a PSA. Don't download Lemonade. Because if you download Lemonade and then you start pushing that and you build your clientele, you build your followers there, TikTok gets banned. So is Lemonade, because it's owned by the same company, ByteDance. So you're just going to waste your time. So I'm just giving you heads up on that. I did download an app that I was messing around with, and it didn't seem too bad. It seemed pretty good. It's called Fanbase. Fanbase. And I like the app. It's actually a really decent app. So I think I'm going to work around that a little bit and see. I kind of like there's another app, by the way, that a lot of people are looking into. And this app looks really promising. And so there are quite a few people. It's not Fanbase. I forgot what the name of it was. It's a brand new. I think they're starting out in February. No, I'm not going to download 15 different apps because the people are saying you should download this, that. It's just too much. It gets to a point where there's so much that it's like, okay, I can't. But there is I'm trying to find it. Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but it's coming out I think in February. But a lot of people are really interested in this app, and once I remember it, or if I remember it, I'll tell you what it is. But a lot of folks are swearing by it. It's very similar to TikTok in a way. It's in beta right now, so people are checking it out, using it, and then they'll hopefully come out with it in February or so. So okay. That's right. So here's the deal. For those of you on TikTok, make sure you go to my profile and make sure you go to my link tree, because it's now all that has been updated. Neptune is it? There you go. Yeah, it's Neptune. So yeah, it's called Neptune, everybody. So the app, there's a brand new app that's coming out, Neptune. And there's a lot of people talking about it. And it's in beta right now. And so I think that's going to be the next big thing is Neptune. So just remember that. Well, actually, it's in beta right now, so you can't. It's not rolled out yet. So they're just in the testing phase, and then from there, they'll hopefully they'll be rolling it out pretty soon. So, but there we go. So that's your PSA announcement, and there we go. But I am on Fanbase now. So if TikTok goes away, then Fanbase will be the one that I use quite heavily until I check out Neptune, and I might stick with Fanbase. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, happy Friday to you guys. I appreciate you all being here, and some of the condolences on Christine. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I have quite a few chats open right now, so I can't. There's a lot going on here, so we'll figure that out. So remember, don't forget tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, so we'll be here for open mic night. So we'll just goof off and have a good time, and then Sunday we have Bible study. All right. So I know it's a lot more time that we normally spend. Oh, her mom passed. Well, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I just heard that. I just heard about it today. Okay. So let's get into our conversation, because again, I know that we spent a lot of time on this, but that's okay, because this is a big story. So, we need to spend an hour on it. We'll spend an hour on it. This is a big deal for a lot of folks. So make sure you guys, TikTok, go to my profile, go to my link tree. All the apps are updated. Everything's been updated. Today is Paranormal Friday. We're going to talk about a cool topic that it's scary in its own right. And that what I'm talking about, of course, is the fact that we're going to deal with horror movies that are based on real stories, real life stories. And when you think of that, a lot of us, we enjoy horror movies, and many people do, and of course there's always someone, if you watch those horror movies, you're going to be possessed. Well, if that was the case, then millions of people would be possessed. Get over it. I mean, seriously, I think people got to relax a little bit with, if you watch those horror movies, your demons are going to be in you. Look, see that even that argument is preposterous, just on its face value. Because if that were the case, millions of people have watched horror movies and they did not become possessed. So we know that that argument holds no water. But there are times where these horror movies, although it may not possess you, they certainly should scare you based on the fact that they are allegedly from real life cases. And we'll talk about what cases. Believe me, there's a lot of people already putting out, oh, this movie. I promise you, we'll probably get to them. So this is about scary movies based on real stories. And we're going to delve into the intriguing world of horror cinema and explore films that draw inspiration from true events, from spine-chilling tales of paranormal encounters to horrifying crimes that shock the world. And I think these movies will provide us with a unique blend of fear and fascination. So let's begin our journey into the realm of real-life horror movies. You know, the popularity of scary movies really is, well, the box office speaks for itself. I mean, some of these movies have made millions and millions of dollars. And real stories, for some people, it serves as an inspiration to put it on film. And they create intense and terrifying experiences. We know that there have been some real life experiences or real life stories, and they put it on film and it terrified people. So we know, haunted houses or supernatural phenomena, for example, the Amityville Horror, or even the Conjuring series, which draw from real life paranormal investigations. So we're going to delve into true stories behind these movies and the alleged encounters with spirits and demons. Now, I did not know Ed Warren, but I did know Lorraine. And I talked to her about all of her cases. Well, the big famous cases that most people know about. And she was absolutely convinced that the Amityville was 100% true. She certainly did not like Annabelle. And there were a lot of people will attack Ed and Lorraine. And I find that so deplorable considering the fact that they're not here to defend themselves. But yet the people who attack Ed and Lorraine don't also realize that these are people that work many cases and never once charged one penny. So I think people got to back off a little bit on the judgment. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to happen. But we also know that there have been notorious serial unalivers, which is, I have to say that, stupid, and even psychopathic criminals. It's like, for example, the movie Psycho, The Silence of the Lambs. What people don't know is it's loosely based on real life scenarios. And we're going to talk about the psychology even behind these characters and the chilling impact that they have on audiences. Even true crime. The popularity of true crime stories, movies like Zodiac. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Zodiac. It's very well done. And what I loved about it is you kind of go obviously behind the scenes and see the people who were investigating this terrible situation. Also, the movie Monster. Monster was an absolute phenomenal movie based on Eileen Wuornos. Eileen Wuornos was a serial killer. She was a terrible. She unalived 7 people. And we're also going to examine the ethical considerations when portraying real life tragedies on the big screen. And by the way, you see back here, well, you guys can't see it, but this is the Bela Lugosi picture. And then there's a small picture right here at the bottom, where it's a Bela Lugosi signature. And we all know Bela Lugosi. Yeah, Charlize Theron, she did an amazing job. We're going to uncover movies that draw inspiration from supernatural beliefs and folklore. For example, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which, by the way, is based on a real story. Her name is Anneliese Michel. She was German. The Blair Witch Project, and which had the Blair Witch Project has roots in urban legends. And we're going to analyze the cultural significance of these tales and their impact on popular culture and even psychological horror. I mean, the psychological horror movies. We're going to explore the movies that delve into the depths of human mind and its terrifying potential. Have you seen Black Swan or even The Babadook? Because the psychological trauma and mental disorders, if you've not seen those two movies, they're pretty phenomenal. And even real life experiences and psychological studies influence the creation of these narratives. And of course, controversies. One of the great movies, the great mysteries is that I really enjoy reading about is the Dyatlov Pass. The Dyatlov Pass is, even to this day, is so, it intrigues me. For those of you who don't know, it's, in Russia and Siberia, these Russian students, they were incredibly well versed in hiking and skiing. They were outdoors people. I mean, they had patches. They were very, very well versed and skilled. And they went to the Dyatlov area. Well, now it's called Dyatlov Pass. And something terrible happened. Now, there's a lot of theories as far as what happened, and there's too many questions. The people say, well, it was some form of avalanche. I just don't buy that. I don't buy it, because these people were not incompetent. They knew the wilderness very, very well. They weren't amateurs. Something to me, I think happened. I don't know what it was, but it certainly was pretty powerful. I hate these commercials on this damn thing. So anyway, okay. What makes these movies, I think, even more captivating is when they're based on, many of them are based on real stories. So the idea that events that we're witnessing on screen actually happened, or they were inspired by true events, adds an extra layer of fear and intrigue. And for me, and for many people, it blurs the line between fiction and reality, which leaves us wondering if these terrifying tales could actually happen. And a lot of people say, "Oh, there's no way they can happen," but they do. And as we embark on this journey into the reality of real life horror, we're going to explore movies that draw inspiration from a variety of sources: paranormal encounters, haunted houses, chilling crimes, serial killers, psychopaths, and in the world of true crime, where filmmakers bring to life some of the most shocking and disturbing cases that have gripped the world. So we're going to, in fact, examine how supernatural beliefs and folklore and urban legends find their way into horror genre, which creates a sense of unease and terror. We'll also discuss the controversies surrounding the portrayal of real-life tragedies for entertainment purposes and the ethical considerations that arise from it. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, I hope you'll gain a deeper understanding of the allure of scary movies based on real stories, because I believe they tap into our primal fear. They challenge our perception of reality. They provide us with a means to explore the darker aspects of human experience. So, The Haunting. The Haunting, in the realm of scary movies that's based on real stories, tales of haunted houses and supernatural phenomena have captivated audiences for decades. And these films takes inspiration from alleged encounters with spirits and ghosts and demons, which blurring the line between the physical and the spiritual realms. So let's kind of get into this subgenre of hauntings. One iconic movie that comes to mind that most of us would absolutely say is the Amityville Horror movie. So the Amityville Horror was released in 1979, and it was based on Jay Anson's book of the same name. Then the film tells the story of the Lutz family, who moved into a house where a brutal unaliving took place. We have to say unaliving, we can't say the other word because of TikTok. Anyway, soon after settling in, the Lutz family, they experienced terrifying paranormal phenomena, leading them to believe that the house is haunted. And the Amityville case was based on real life experiences of the Lutz family, who claim to have encountered malevolent forces during their stay in the infamous Amityville house. Now, to be fair, because I've been in the paranormal for so long that I've had opportunity to speak to so many people who were directly involved in the Amityville case. Lorraine was one of them. George Lutz, who was the father of the house. So hold on, folks. I promise you. But right now, I want to. We're gonna go down the list. George Lutz, from what many people have told me, including, by the way, one of the family members who had talked about this, was practiced Satanism, and he was very, very heavily involved into the occult, and allegedly he did a lot of things that he should not have done. And after this activity, then after him, conjuring, if you will, the activity began to increase. A lot of dead flies, it was just an infestation. So the issue also, this was about 15 years ago when I interviewed an individual who was related to the family, had stated that originally they bought the house at an unbelievably discounted price. And because there was a horrible unaliving in that home. That's a real story. So it was a terrible, terrible unaliving situation where a father unalived his family. And they got the house at an amazingly discounted price, but George, his business wasn't doing so well. And even though they got it at a rock bottom price, they were having trouble paying the mortgage. So the one argument is that he and his attorney, because they were friends, they were in the room, in the living room, and they were thinking about ways to kind of maybe try to get out of paying the mortgage on this home. And that is when that's what a lot of people who are very much against the Amityville house, the proponents would say it was all a made up lie because George Lutz couldn't pay for the mortgage. So they created this story that it was demonic and it was evil and all this other stuff, so that somehow they thought that was a way for them to get out from underneath the mortgage. When I talked to Lorraine about this case, she had hesitations. She didn't dismiss the claim as far as him being involved in some things that he should not have been involved in. But one thing that she did say is that she brought in a clergy member, and this clergy member was a friend of hers. And he came in to the house and he told everybody just to wait outside and let me go in. I'm going to bless the home. I'm going to see what happens. I don't want anyone to. So he goes into the home. Something happens. So he goes up into one of the rooms and there's flies everywhere. There's dead flies everywhere. I mean, it's just, they're everywhere. And he hears this growl, this unbelievably deep growl. And he runs out of this home. And he says, that's it. I'm never, ever going back in. So he wouldn't return Lorraine's calls. He said, I'm not coming back into this home. There's no way. This is way above what I'm able to do. So she said something really frightened this guy. And he was a clergy that was pretty focused and seasoned. I wouldn't say so much as maybe as an exorcist, but he was seasoned as far as he's working cases. But he refused. So at least with his perspective, something really evil was there. Now, was that because of George Lutz doing things that he should not have done? Well, I'd probably say, and certainly I would say the negative energy that was already in that home because of the unalivings prior to them moving in. I based on what Lorraine told me, there's no question in my mind something was happening in that home. Now, whether or not they used that as an excuse to get out of the mortgage because they couldn't pay for it, well, that's a different story. I don't know. I don't know what their motive was. But I do know Lorraine was really, really animated when she was talking to me about this. And she experienced it She even said they have a picture of a little boy, and on top of the stairwell, and he's looking around, and he's about, I think 12 years old or so, and his eyes are just this ghostly figure. So she was absolutely 100% convinced that the Amityville was truly, without question, had a demonic infestation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So whether or not whether you feel it was because of George Lutz inviting it or that there was a previous, irrelevant, she believed there was something present. Another notable film series that draw from real life investigations is The Conjuring. All right, now look, there's a lot of debate on The Conjuring, and I would encourage everybody. Andrea Perrin, which, by the way, she has a show here on KGRADB radio. She has been in, I think, I'm not for sure, Mr. Producer, just let me know, but I know that she was in treatment for some health issues. So let's certainly continue to keep her in your prayers. But Andrea grew up in the house that the Conjuring is based from. It's House of Darkness, House of Light. So she has a trilogy. Now look here, if guys, if you want to truly learn about what happened in that home, then you need to go to the source. Thank you. You need to go to the source and read it and get those books at Amazon. You can get them. So it's yeah, she has cancer. House. Okay, she's undergoing chemo, but is doing remarkably well. Beautiful, and that's great news. So let's keep Andrea. Andrea is a beautiful soul. She is a beautiful, beautiful soul. If you've never met Andrea, and if you ever get the opportunity, do it. She just has that presence about her that is just, you can just tell she's genuine. She's good-hearted. And I talked to her about, a matter of fact, I had her on the show. We will do that again, Mr. Producer. I would love to have Andrea back on as a guest if she's interested. And I don't want to push her too much since she's going through treatment. But if she ever wants to come back on, I would love to have her come back on and tell the story. We've had her again. Okay, great. So we had Andrea on as a special guest and talking about the Conjuring situation. And she believes that there was some invitation that should not have happened, bringing in a psychic, causing a lot more problems. So with Andrea's perspective, she lived in the home. She has her own thoughts on the whole situation. And I would encourage you to go and purchase House of Darkness, House of Light. All right. So that is, you're going to get it from a person who actually lived there. It was the movie The Conjuring was directed by James Wan. It's a franchise. It exploits the paranormal investigators of Ed and Lorraine Warren. The film starts with The Conjuring in 2013. And it obviously depicts the couple's encounters with various supernatural entities and become a hugely popular among horror enthusiasts. I don't watch it. I don't. I don't watch a whole lot of horror movies because most of them are really, really bad. And to be honest with you, I very rarely ever watch movies about exorcism because most of them I will get frustrated. For example, The Pope's Exorcist, based on a true story. I was so angry with that movie. In the middle of it, I got up and walked away. I just walked out. It was just so terrible. It was so stupid that I thought, oh, you got to be kidding me. It just got really bad. In the beginning, it was good. And I was like, okay, this has promise. But then it just got dumb. It just got unbelievably. So for me, I just couldn't. Now, beyond these well-known examples, there are numerous other movies that are actually inspired by haunted houses and supernatural encounters. Poltergeist, the movie, Go to the Light, released 1982. I actually remember that. Tells the story of a suburban family terrorized by malevolent spirits in their new home. Now, while not directly based on a true story, it draws inspiration from various reported cases of haunted houses and ghostly phenomena. So the writer took a combination of cases that were reported and created this movie. Now, the next movie is called The Entity. It's released in 1982. It's another notable film in the subgenre of horror. It is, by the way, based on the real life experiences of Doris Byther, who claimed to have been assaulted by an unseen supernatural entity in her home, and that would be an incubus. Um, oh, well, wonderful. Well, there we go, guys. Well, look at that. Mr. Producer's right on the ball. So Andrea said to tell you she loves me. Oh, she's so sweet. And that she will do the first hour next week. So there we go, guys. You heard it right here. Andrea Perrin is going to be gracing us, and I appreciate that so much. She's going to be joining us next week for the first hour. Now, Andrea Perrin, again, she lived in the Conjuring house. She was one of the children that lived there. So if you really, truly want to know about the Conjuring and what happened, you got to tune in to next week at 7 p.m. Eastern, where I will have Andrea on as my special guest. Thank you very much, Mr. Producer. I appreciate that. He's right on the ball, isn't it? So next week, Andrea Perrin. Okay, well, so The Entity, 1982. The movie explores the psychological and physical torment that she endured, raising questions about the nature of the paranormal. And these films and many others tap into our fascinations with the unknown and the supernatural. And I will tell you this. I worked the case. And it was an incubus case. And that was the case where I actually thought about quitting. That was the case. That was the only case where I actually was close to walking away from this ministry. Because I worked with her for 3 years. And she was 68 years old. And I grew to love her and her family. Her family are beautiful. They're wonderful people. She was a wonderful person. She suffered with an incubus. And when her family got a hold of me, she was in the hospital. I got to be careful. This may be triggering to some. So when I give my thumbs up, that means you can listen again. So I have to be respectful. Okay, so I'm gonna briefly describe it. So go ahead and mute your sound. She had there was trauma based in her private area and anal area, and that required stitches. Okay, so there you go. So we have to be respectful of that. And so I got involved with that case, and the doctor was baffled. Her family had asked people to help, and unfortunately, people took advantage, and they charged a lot of money, and they did nothing. So when I got involved, I worked with this case this was an incubus case, and I worked with her for 3 years, and I couldn't fix it. I couldn't make it go away. And I grew to love her and the family. She was like a grandma. And I was really, really close to quitting. And I went to one of my mentors, who was just a beautiful soul, Benedictine. And he was an older monk. And he said, James, I want you to get off the cross and let Jesus have a try. And because I kept saying, I've done this, I'm doing this, I've done this, and he said, James, get off the cross, let Jesus have a try. And that made me mad. But I understood what he was saying. And because he reminded me, he said, you're not doing anything. You are an instrument that God is using, and this person will be delivered in God's time, not yours. And I needed that kind of kick in the rear end, because I myself was under oppression. Because I was very close to retiring and quitting, because I couldn't fix it. Because then I kept thinking, well, maybe someone more holier than me, someone more intelligent, more experienced, someone else. And I had to learn that lesson. So she had been suffering this for 5 years, 5 years. And she had to eventually stop driving. And so, but I worked with her, and then the last year of her life, she was no longer being hurt Now, she would still feel, she called them bed walkers. She described them as 3 10-pound, like 10-pound dogs. Or her daughter said cat, but she told me dogs. She was like 3 10-pound animals, whatever. And she could feel them walking on her bed. So when she was linked, she could feel them creeping, slowly creeping up, and then it would attack her. We actually are the only team in the entire world that has the video where she is laying down and you see her bed sheets rise and fall and rise. I mean, they're like 3-4 feet off the bed and fall and rise and fall. And sometimes when I do presentations, I'm allowed to show that video. It's very intense, very intense. Okay, so these movies, they offer a thrilling blend of suspense and terror and even skepticism, as we question whether these alleged hauntings and ghostly encounters could indeed be real. But whether you believe in the paranormal or not, I think these movies provide us a chilling glimpse into a world where the line between the living and the dead becomes blurred. So as we continue our exploration of scary movies based on real stories, we're going to venture into the dark and twisted realm of serial killers and psychopaths. So let's delve into the realm of this very, for me, I love psychology. So this is a chilling subgenre of scary movies based on real stories. And these films draw inspiration from dark minds of individuals who commit heinous crimes. And we're going to explore the psychology behind their actions and the terror they inflict upon their victims. So some of the most spine-fearing movies is, of course, Alfred Hitchcock's movie Psycho. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Psycho was inspired by the real-life crimes of serial killer Ed Gein. And the film tells the story of Norman Bates, a disturbed motel owner with a split personality. Psycho not only revolutionized the horror genre, but also left an indelible mark on popular culture. Its iconic shower scene becoming one of the most memorable moments in cinematic history. Another chilling film that's based on real life events, Silence of the Lambs, which, by the way, let me see. Hold on. Let me show you this. I might make some popping noise. Hold on. One second. One second. I wasn't going to show this, but I thought, why not? Okay. There we are. Okay. So I wasn't going to show this, but I thought, why not? Look at this, everybody. Feast your eyes, boys and girls, on this very interesting picture that I got several years ago. By the way, this has a certificate of authenticity. So there's the certificate of authenticity. Yep. It is the one and only Anthony Hopkins. You guys can see it. It's a pretty eerie picture. Well, yeah. So yeah, I got that several years ago and added to my collection, if you will. Now, so the Silence of the Lambs, it's actually 1991. It's adapted by Thomas Harris's novel. It follows an FBI trainee, Clarice Starling, as she seeks to help the incarcerated cannibalistic serial killer, Dr. Hannibal Lecter, to catch another deranged unaliver known as Buffalo Bill. The Silence of the Lambs explores the twisted mind of Lecter, played masterfully by Anthony Hopkins, and leaves audience captivated and disturbed. Movies beyond these classics, by the way, um, Zodiac, 2007. It is really it's a phenomenal movie. Directed by David Fincher. The film is based on a true story of the Zodiac unaliver. So stupid you have to say that, isn't it? It's an unidentified serial killer who operated in California during the late 1960s and 70s. Zodiac, he portrays the obsessive hunt for the unaliver and the impact that it has on those involved, highlighting the fear and the paranoia that gripped the community during that time. Another notable film is Monster. Monster in 2003. This was unbelievable. If you have not seen this movie, if you like these type of movies, these genres that get into the real psychology of a person, you have to watch this. They never did, Homer. No. So Monster is based on the real life of serial killer Annalise Warnos and Charlize Theron. Transformative. I mean, it really. The performance she gave, it garnered critical acclaim as she portrayed Warnos, who Warnos was a prostitute who unalived several men. The film delves into a psychological complexities of Warnos' life and the events that led her down the path of violence. I don't know. Did she win? I think she did win the Academy Award, didn't she? If she didn't, she should have. Now, these movies not only entertain, but also raise questions about the nature of evil, the fragility of the human mind, and the motivations beyond these abhorrent acts. Of course, another television show that was on Netflix, Dahmer. Folks, that Dahmer is unbelievable. If you've not seen it, here's the deal with Dahmer. People ask me, do I think Dahmer, and even Gacy, the movie Gacy, do I think that they were possessed? Well, here's what Dahmer. I think there could have been a form of possession going on. Here's why. So Dahmer would go into a trance, and he began to get heavily involved in some really bad things, Satanism, and what he would do is watch The Exorcist 3. So there's a particular scene that he would watch that he just became obsessed with prior to doing terrible things, and it would put him in a trance. And now there was one gentleman that he did take back to a hotel. He says he has no memory whatsoever of doing any harm to this person, but obviously he woke up the next morning and this person's, chest had been caved in. It was terrible. So he has no memory of that. That does fall into alignment with the possibility of possession, because when you're under the stage of possession, you have no memory of the stage of being possessed. You remember what led up to possession, but it seemed like he had this ritual prior to doing some terrible, terrible things. So I think in Dahmer's case, there certainly could have been possession, could have been a situation. Matter of fact, a family purchased these, and there was he was a young man. I think he was 17, and he became obsessed with Dahmer when Dahmer was imprisoned, and he was like a pen pal. And Dahmer, I think, became infatuated with this young man, and so he asked Dahmer if he could have something of his, as like a keepsake kind of a thing. And so Dahmer did send something to him, and his family found out, and they contacted me and said, "We don't want this. We take this out of our home. What do we do with it? Do we throw it away?" Because they were absolutely convinced that their son, could be drawn in. They just didn't know. So they did. Dahmer actually sent him this. These are a pair of glasses from Dahmer. That's his note. And so this is, when you see these in real life, there's an intense reaction that people get. As a matter of fact, I had someone also put a thermal camera on this heat, and the heat that this gave off was pretty amazing. But there they are. So the family said, no, we want you to take this. So I have this obviously in here for protection sakes. But allegedly, the movie The Strangers. The Strangers is based on a true story, allegedly. And I had the opportunity to, when I was at a paranormal conference giving a presentation on demonology, I got to meet the main actor in The Strangers, and it was really nice because he was actually very, very kind, and he actually signed one of the props that was used in the movie. So this is his signature there. You can't see. There you go. And he was really, really a nice guy. He said, "Lock your doors and pretend you're safe." And so anyway, that's his signature here. And he also signed. I got my hands on this, and he signed this. And on the back of this, I'm not going to take it out, but it says number 1 because it was the prop number 1, and then he assigned it. So there you go. Little show and tell for tonight too. So as we continue, let's join me as we uncover the shocking and captivating world of crimes that grip the public's attention, inspired filmmakers to create tales of horror and suspense. So now let's turn our attention to the captivating world of true crimes, which we talked briefly about, a subgenre of scary movies. And we talked about Zodiac. The Zodiac, again, if you've not seen it, watch it. Monster, 2003, absolutely amazing. Hello there. Truly fascinating. Now, there's another movie called, in 2003, if you're interested in psychology, because I love psychology, and to delve deeply into the psychological aspects of individual, because people often ask me if I think that perhaps serial killers were they possessed. Well, when you go into the mind, I think some of them were not, because they're absolute. You see the motivation, you see the intent. They were fully aware of their faculties. Now, could they have been oppressed? Well, certainly. But Dahmer is an interesting case, and so is Gacy. Now, there's a movie in 2003. It's called Memories of Unaliving. I can't say the word because of TikTok, but it starts with an M. And it's a South Korean film that's based on the true story of a serial unalivers that occurred in 1980s. And it's directed by Bong Joon-ho, and the film explores the investigations and the toll that it takes on detectives involved. It's called the Memories of Unalivers, and again, it starts with an M, 2003. Another notable example of these subgenre movies would be The Boston Strangler in 1968. This chronicles the case of serial killer Albert DeSalvo, who terrorized Boston in the early 1960s. And the film delves into the investigation led by Detective John Bottomley and the psychological tension surrounding the pursuit of this person. Also, I tell you, there was a really fascinating movie. It's actually, a series. And let me just make sure that I have this. Yeah. So it was pretty powerful. The assassination of Gianni Versace. If you have not seen that, Darren Criss does an unbelievable job with portraying Andrew Cunanan. And Andrew Cunanan was an individual who did some pretty terrible things. Actually, a quite intelligent young man, but obviously a lot of demons were attached to him. No question. I mean, if you've not seen it, it really is a fascinating show. It came out. It was 2018. So January 17th until March 2018, and stars Darren Criss and Ricky Martin. Both did a fantastic, and Penelope Cruz. So I would encourage you, if you've not seen them, you might want to take a look at that. It's one of the, I think, the the most well done show as far as that aspect, because you guys actually get to see in the mind of Andrew Cunanan. And his father was just terrible. His father was just a horrible, horrible human being. Uh, but you'll understand. So that's another one that you might want to consider if you're it's called the which show? Yeah, I just the assassination of Versace. Yeah, again, it's called The Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story. And yeah, it stars Darren Criss and Ricky Martin, Penelope Cruz. Okay, so now let's explore the captivating world of supernatural tales and folklore. That is another subgenre of scary movies that draws inspiration from myths, legends, and paranormal beliefs. The film delves into the realms of the unknown, which obviously blurs the boundaries between reality and the supernatural. So, first of all, let's talk about an iconic film. As far as a possession, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. It is based on the true story of Anneliese Michel. She's German. It is the film explores the horrifying ordeal of a young woman believed to be possessed by demons. It delves into the legal and spiritual battle that ensued as her possession was subjected to both medical and religious scrutiny. I actually did a presentation on this, and I'll do another one. I believe, based on what I have seen in the case file, I was able to look at the case files and to listen. So I have the sound bites that are legit. There are some sound bites that are not real online. Based on what I saw and what I read, I am absolutely convinced that she was possessed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. None. Now, I think there was neglect on her family, on the family's part, and there absolutely was neglect with clergy. So maybe one day I'll do another presentation on that again, because I was actually at the Exorcist house. So I did a presentation on Anneliese Michel and John Doe, basically the Exorcist, the story from the Exorcist. So I was at when I did the Travel Channel show in 2015, that everyone went crazy and nuts, being rude and disrespectful, because it was a blessing of a home. So I did that show on the Travel Channel. It was a live show. And so, but what people don't know about that is the reason that I did that is because the family had contacted the producers, and the mother or the wife, well, she was pregnant, and she did not want to bring a child into that home without it having been blessed. So maybe one day I'll do a presentation on that again, because it's been a while, and we can talk about my experience with that. So we talked briefly about the Blair Witch Project. Now, whether or not you like the Blair Witch Project or not, I'm not a fan of movies where it looks like the camera operator is having a seizure. So I've never been a fan of that. So it's like, okay, keep the camera still, please. I don't need to look like it. That drives me nuts. And in 1999, there were so many movies that did that because they thought, oh, great, the Blair Witch Project was so successful. Let's make all the movies look like the cameraman is having a seizure. And it was so irritating. It was so irritating. But whether or not you like the Blair Witch or not, it was pretty phenomenal. The fact that you can't argue, they made a substantial income on this. Oh, I tell you what, Archbishop, it was terrible. I have never, when I did the Exorcism live show, there were so many people that were vicious clergy within the Roman Catholic Church that were really vicious and said some pretty nasty things, really nasty. And I thought, well, what happened to Christian brotherhood and sisterhood and love and compassion and not judging people? I mean, there's a difference between saying I disagree with what Bishop Long is doing versus, well, now I'm going to try to discredit Bishop Long because he happens to be doing a presentation. So the show was called Exorcism Live. My friend Chip Coffey was there. Other people were there. It was a house blessing. I wasn't the producer. I had no control over the title. And so it was a house blessing. That's what I did. There was no I didn't perform an exorcism on anybody on camera, nor would I. It was a house blessing. And it was terrible. I mean, it was vicious. But I'll tell the story, because that was just one part. When I actually went there, oh my goodness, I have so much. I'll tell you about that. So, there's another movie beyond these classics, The Pan's Labyrinth, in 2006. It's a dark fantasy film, combines elements of supernatural creatures and folklore set against the backdrop of the Spanish Civil War. Tells the story of a young girl who escapes into a mythical labyrinth to cope with the harsh realities of her surroundings. Crimson Peak in 2015. There was another one. Here's the problem with I will not watch a movie that has any form of incantation. I will not. So if they are, summoning demons and they're chanting, I'm not going to participate in that. I won't watch it. There's nothing that I need to see on that. And people always say, well, all horror movies are all demonic. And everyone gets possessed if they watch. If you watch a great big shark going around terrorizing people, you're not going to be possessed. If that was the case, as I said in the very beginning, then every single person who watched the horror movie would be possessed. But there are movies that do cross the line. And those movies that cross the line, I don't watch. I just don't watch. Now, there are also a lot of psychological horror movies that are based on true stories. So in 1974, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it was inspired by a real-life serial killer, Ed Gein. And the film follows a group of friends who encounter a family of cannibals while on a road trip. Now, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a classic horror film. It's in rural Texas. It was intense, graphic violence. So a lot of people, I don't necessarily watch those type of movies, but some people do. We've talked about The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I think the movie is known for a blending courtroom drama with horror elements. Now, there's a lot of people who think that Emily Rose was not possessed. I would disagree. And when I do a presentation, I'll talk to you about that in next time. We talked about the Amityville Horror. Remember, the occupants of this family, the DeFeo family, or Ronald DeFeo Jr., he unalived his parents and 4 siblings in 1974. And so that in of itself was pretty horrible. There's another movie called Wolf Creek in 2005. This actually was inspired by a real-life Australian serial killer, Ivan Milat. And the film follows a group of backpackers who become the target of this horrible person. So Wolf Creek is a horror film that was released in 2005. And again, it follows a group of backpackers. And it's known for its intense and brutal scenes. And it's loosely based on true events. And then, of course, now The Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember this when it came out, 1984. Now, obviously, it's though not entirely based on true events. What's interesting that a lot of people don't know about this one is it drew inspiration from a newspaper article about a series of mysterious passing people passed away that occurred during the Laotian refugees who were suffering from disturbing nightmares. And the movies takes inspiration from alleged real-life events, but it's important to remember they are fictionalized versions of those stories. So that's where it came from. It was released in 1984, follows the story of a group of teenagers who are being stalked and unalived in their dreams by Freddy Krueger. Okay, so we know about that. Now, horror movies that are based on real-life events have always, I think, been a topic of discussion and debate. And while the films have the potential to entertain, frighten, and educate audiences, They can also raise ethical concerns, and they face controversies. So, first of all, I think I'm going to list some of the impacts and controversies that are associated with horror movies based on real life events. So, for example, sensationalizing tragedy. One of the main controversies surrounding these films is the concern that they exploit the real life events that are based on for entertainment purposes. A lot of people who don't like these movies, like Monster, that's based on Eileen Wuornos, or Gacy, the critics argue that this can be disrespectful to the victims and their families. And also, people argue that it creates fear and anxiety. So, yeah, we talked about it. We talked about Amityville earlier. So, horror movies based on real life events often depicts violence and trauma and terror. And while some audiences seek that adrenaline rush, the movies can exacerbate fears and anxieties, especially for those directly impacted by real life events. By the way, the movie Jaws, it had such an impact on people that, unfortunately, and I do mean unfortunately, that the hunting of sharks became truly problematic, that it was directly affecting the ecosystem. And while I'm not a big fan of going out there and swimming with sharks, because I'm not, but at the same time, they're very, very important. And so there were a lot of fishermen that went out and just did terrible things to so many sharks. And so Jaws, as a matter of fact, even the author of the Jaws said, yeah, he kind of regretted that, because it was truly problematic, almost to the point of extinction. So they generate public interest. So the film often sparked public interest in discourse. And they can encourage individuals to research and learn more about historical incidents and controversies, which is good. Here's a big problem. Every time there is an exorcism movie, I am slammed. I mean, I am slammed with people saying that they're possessed every single time. And that is a problem too, because if you're familiar with the movie and you know what happened in the movie, then unfortunately the people will list off, well, this happened exactly what happened to the main character in the movie. And that does happen quite a bit, and that's frustrating. So you kind of, if you're trained in this, you know what to look for and what to say. I don't think that's true. Now, sometimes the release of horror movies based on real life events can lead to legal battles between the filmmakers and the subjects involved. So the disputes may arise from, like, defamation, invasion of privacy, copyright infringement. And people say that many of these movies distorts the facts. So in an attempt to create a more engaging narrative, horror movies based on real life events may take creative liberties and then deviate from actual events, because that can blur the line between fiction and reality. And of course, a lot of people who say these movies inspire copycat behavior. Some people argue, and I think they have a legitimate argument there. Some argue that these movies can inspire copycat behavior, especially if they glamorize, romanticize the actions of real life perpetrators. And that concern raises the question of whether the potential risk outweighs the artistic or entertainment value. Other critics say, well, what about it fostering empathy and understanding? So on the flip side, some proponents argue that horror movies based on real life events can foster empathy and understanding. So by visualizing the horrors faced by others, these films they say, look, it raises awareness, which prompts discussions about societal issues, etc. So horror movies that's based on real life events have significant impact on both individuals and society as a whole. And while they provide entertainment and provoke discussions and controversies surrounding their ethical implications, can't be ignored. And filmmakers and audiences need to strike a balance between entertainment value and sensitivity towards the real life events that they actually depict. I know that actually now it's kind of interesting, but the mobsters that, were out, in Gotti and things of this nature, it does seem, I don't know why society seems to prop up these people who used to be, for example, in the mafia. Now they're celebrities. You're a celebrity because you were in the mafia? And a lot of people will argue, now, wait a minute, movies are doing this. For example, we all know Casino and Goodfellas and movies like this. And people will say, well, it's just, they're elevating these former mobsters into becoming paranormal, not celebrities. And there's a lot of people that question whether or not that should happen. Now, again, for those of you who don't know, Poltergeist 1, 2, and 3, and this is by D.K. Randall. Here's what a lot of people don't know. There are 3 notoriously cursed horror movies. Three of them. And let me tell you what they are. First, Poltergeist 1, 2, and 3. See, it was directed by Tobe Hooper and produced by Steven Spielberg. The original Poltergeist told the terrifying tale of a family who became besieged by a malicious haunting that culminated in their youngest daughter being pulled through a portal to the other side. Well, listen to that. Tragedy would notoriously follow the cast and crew, however, with Dominic Dunne, who played Dana, being unalived by her boyfriend. Julian Beck, who played Kane, passed away of stomach cancer. Will Sampson, who played Taylor, he passed away of surgery complications. Perhaps most tragically of all, the film series young protagonist Heather O'Rourke died of septic shock. Another movie that's allegedly supposed to have been cursed is The Exorcist. So when it was released, the original Exorcist was so terrifying that some unsuspecting cinemagoers ended up passing out in the theater. Things didn't get much better behind the cameras either. So when shooting began in 1972, a fire tore through the set of Reagan McNeil's home, causing extensive damage. And in a peculiar twist, by the way, the room used for the actual exorcism escaped unscathed. Actors Jack McGowan and Leslie Milarius both passed away shortly after filming and wrapped, and both Linda Blair and Max suffered the loss of a close family members during filming. Jason Miller's son nearly passed away in a motorcycle accident, and several factors were injured on set. By the way, her back. Of course, we all know the actress who played the young girl. Her back was actually, did some serious damage to her back when it was going up and down in the bed. She really said that it just almost destroyed her back. Yeah, Linda Blair. And the movie The Omen, that's supposed to be cursed. The Omen, another supernatural horror classic. The Omen followed the story of Damien, a seemingly innocuous young boy who just happened to be the son of Satan himself. A mere 2 months before filming started, the son of actor Gregory Peck unalived himself. And then when Peck was flying to London in September, his plane was struck by lightning. The same thing happened to executive producer Mace Newfield a few weeks later. And then producer Harvey Bernhard narrowly avoided being struck by lightning while filming in Rome. Quote, the devil was at work and he didn't want the film made, he said. An animal handler who worked on the crazy baboon scene was mauled by a tiger shortly after filming wrapped up on Friday the 13th. Special effects artist John Richardson was involved in a car accident. And while he did escape with his life, his passenger assistant, Liz Moore, unfortunately did not. I can't really say because of TikTok, but anyway, to cap it all off, a plane that was used to charter the film before being switched at the last minute went down a short time after taking off, resulting in the deaths of everyone on board. So apparently these 3 movies, yeah, absolutely. And of course, yeah. And yeah, and even Bela Lugosi. Yeah, it's a sign by Bela Lugosi. And Bela Lugosi, poor guy, he was just typecast afterwards. But okay, well, see, a lot of people. Let me open it up for TikTok. A lot of people believe that these movies that were cursed, the directors believe that it was because that something didn't want this information to be presented. Now that's a theory, and certainly I think it's a valid theory. But they were absolutely convinced that demons just didn't want them presented. And well, no, see, here's the deal. Let me just, and again, I've answered this question a minute ago. There are a lot of people. They make universal statements. If you watch scary movies, you'll be possessed. That's just not true. I'm sorry, it's not. That would mean every single person throughout history who has watched a scary movie would be possessed. And we simply know that's not true. And I think that's an extreme. I think that's an extreme take. For example, Jaws is a scary movie. Some people would even say, I don't know, the dinosaur, Jurassic Park was a scary movie. I don't think watching Jaws is going to make you possessed. And I don't think watching Jurassic Park is going to make you possessed. I will not, however, watch a movie, and I've spoken about this earlier when we first started the presentation. I will not watch a movie where there is incantations, where they are summoning demons, chanting demon names. I will not, under any circumstances, watch those type of movies, because that is a form of invitation, and I don't like that. Movies like when I talked about earlier, the assassination of Gianni Versace. It was just brilliantly done, because it brought you into the mind of Andrew Cunanan. And I think I look at movies like that not from a horror perspective. I look at it from a psychological perspective. In the same manner that I would watch a movie, Eileen Wuornos, that she did Monster. That's based on Eileen Wuornos's life, or even Gacy. So when I watch these movies, or even Dahmer on Netflix, I don't watch those movies for the horror value. I watch those movies from a psychology perspective. Not that I'm a psychologist, but I've always been fascinated with the mind and what would draw someone to that level. So anyway, yeah, Gianni Versace was absolutely Chris Cross, who did I think that's his name. That doesn't sound right. He did an absolute brilliant job, and if you have not seen that, guys, I really do encourage you. Yeah, he did a great job with portraying Andrew Cunanan. Darian Cross. Darian Cross is the actor. By the way, he's a singer too. But Darian Cross did a great job. The assassination of Gianni Versace, an American crime story. It's very intense, and it goes into the mindset as best as it could go into the mindset of Andrew Cunanan. So, honestly, what movies will I not watch? I don't watch a whole lot of like I had mentioned earlier, I don't watch a whole lot of possession movies because I find them to be really stupid, just utterly dumb, not even worth my time. Certainly not worth the money, but not worth my time, because most of them are just bad. I mean, the Pope's Exorcist was really stupid. The Pope's Exorcist, here's what I like. They did a really great job. The Pope's Exorcist did a fantastic job on what infestation looks like. They did a great job with that. Great job. And I really, when I was watching it, I thought, well, maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe we got something here. But then when it started getting into the middle, and certainly the end, I was like, okay, I can't. And that's when I just said, nope. I'm done. Because it just got to that point where it was no longer even believable. It was just so stupid that I just couldn't watch it anymore. And so I had to turn. I had to walk away. I actually left. I actually left on the uh, the theater because it was just so bad. It was just that bad. So yeah, not something that I even wanted to even watch anymore. So okay, yeah, you have to. Yeah, someone's asking me on Messenger. Look, here's the deal. Now, Emily Rose, I thought was well done. There were some things that were obviously, I think, some creative licensing was certainly occurred, but I think that they did the best they could on the what was testified in court, not only by the family but also by the clergy, which the clergy were very neglectful, as well as the family. So I'll do a presentation on that as well. I'll do another presentation on that. But someone was asking me about exorcism. Look, here's the deal. I'm not the exorcist police. So I'm not here to say, someone's asking, do you think this person, I'm not here to say whether this person is an exorcist or that. That's not my job. That's judgment. I don't do that nonsense. I don't play that game. There are exorcists in other denominations. And I have friends that are exorcists in other denominations, and they're very great people. But I also, look, I'm fully aware there are people that are not properly trained. They're just not, or they think everything is a demon. Everything. I was like, oh, good grief. I mean, everything is a demon. It's not. It's just not. And I think that's kind of frustrating for people like myself who are other clergy and deal with these cases, because it's kind of like it kind of gets old when everything is I mean, there are teams out there that have no training in demonology whatsoever, and then they go to these cases, and because they hear a noise, oh, it's a demon. How do you know it's a demon? Just because there's a noise, how do you know? So I think there's an extreme level to that. And the thing also is, you should not get involved in this ministry if you're trying to make a buck. Don't do it. Don't get involved. Do not, because if you do, the devil's already beaten you. Plain and simple, the devil's already beaten you. Your integrity must be pure. And I understand people are going to say, well, yeah, but Bishop, people got to pay bills. I get it. But here's the problem. The moment that you tell someone, okay, I charge $1,000 for an exorcism, then it's, well, the devil, remember, First Peter says, do not give the devil a chance to work on you. The devil says, oh, come on. This state's a little further. Charge $3,000. You can charge $5,000. You got a major problem coming up with your car's having issues, charge $10,000. And so with us, and it's not easy, but I have never charged. And at one time, and while that may be, some people say, yay, raw, Bishop. Okay, that wasn't raw, because I put $15,000 on my credit card at one time, helping people for free. And the people that kept going on and on and on and on about, oh, so, got a frog. Yep. Got a frog in my throat. Cough drop went down wrong. But the people, they kept saying, you should never charge. And I haven't. They never helped. So the people that kept telling me, oh, you shouldn't charge, it's evil, it's wrong, it's an abomination. And then I would go online and say, I have this case, here it is, this family. they're located here. It's 10 hours away. I've got to find a way to get there. Oh, you do it for free. Yay, Bishop Long. But they never offered to help. But they were absolutely be the very first ones to tell me, oh, you're going to burn the fiery pits of hell if you charge. So I say, okay, I I don't charge. So yeah, one time I put $15,000 on my credit card to help people for free. And then I got death threats. Let that sink in for just a moment. So I was helping people for free, going to their homes and blessing their homes, not charging a penny, putting it on my credit card, blessing people, going to paranormal investigations where they had to hire 4 police officers to surround me while I'm blessing people. So, it was taking a toll. That was taking a major toll. Yeah, it does. It costs a lot of money when you're going out of town. Uh, you know, intentions are good. You might have good intentions, but it could put you in bankruptcy. So all those people, oh, you should never charge. You should never charge. They never once open their pocketbook and make a donation to me so I can get to. So I would even one time went on Facebook and said, okay, all you people are telling me never charge, which I haven't. So I need help. Please help me get to this family. No, no, no. We'll pray for you. Okay, I got you. See. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Yep. It's true. That's true. And in St. Louis, as a matter of fact, I went to that home. I was talking about that earlier. Cain and Abel offspring. Yes, Cain and Abel were the children of Adam and Eve. So, but while it may be nice to have good intentions, you still have to have a way to get there. And Judy Ann is a friend. She's a good friend of mine. And many times I go to Judy Ann and say, help. Well, Judy Ann can't do it all the time. Nor should she do it all the time. But she can't. So, well, here's money for a car rental, or a hotel. We can't do that all the time. So it's it's been one of those things. But I don't know anything about that, Lori. I don't know. And by the way, let me make this clear. Let me talk about Ghost Adventures. And then I'm going to talk about some articles that I found that I want to present to you guys. There's a few people up there, and I know there are some people that are not fans of Ghost Adventures. That's fine. That's fine. But then I also hear them say, yeah, but it's all fake. See, that kind of bothers me, because my question to them is, were you there? No. So then your opinion is based on what? Based on trolling. Because you weren't there. I was there at the Bobby Mackey's episodes. I was there 3 times in the episodes. I know what happened. And I also know I didn't charge. I don't work for Bobby Mackey's, and I don't work for Ghost Adventures. I did 3 episodes with them. I was present. I saw it. I was there. You weren't. So this trolling, well, I don't think it's real. You weren't there, sunshine. So if you were there, then you have a valid opinion. But just because you watch something on television, well, it wasn't real. Based on what? Well, based on what I saw on television. So you weren't there, so you don't know. I was. Here's the deal. Let me just make this very clear about Bobby Mackey's and the Ghost Adventures episodes, because that really is what propelled Ghost Adventures, that Bobby Mackey's episodes, because it was terrible. It was unbelievable. When I was there with the guys, I think they called me. I was at the hotel, and then they said, okay, it's time. I think around 2 a.m. or something. So I could already feel, when I went under in the basement, I could already feel the oppression. I mean, it was palpable. It was very clear. And I remember being there. And so this was before they did the cameras. They turned the cameras on and they filmed. I said, guys, listen to me again. When I begin, I don't want you wandering off. I don't want you getting distracted. And when you say, okay, cut, I'm not cutting until I'm finished. That's the rule. And that's the same thing I told the Exorcism Live people at the Exorcist house. I don't care if you give me 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I don't care. But when the camera's cut, I'm still performing and cleansing this home. Otherwise, I won't do it. You need to find somebody else. And they did. They were very, very cordial, very respectful of that. So I told the guys, just be aware that things are going to happen. You may hear growls, you may smell sulfur or rotten flesh, and that you can't get distracted. So you have to stay with me. Okay, okay. So we were at the well, I was there, and we all heard the growl. We all hear it. We all heard it. It was clear. And actually, I don't think the microphones picked it up as good as as loud as it really was. So I went back, and then Zach took off. Now, look, Zach is the owner and the executive producer. That's what he does. He films. He gets it on tries to get it on film. I get it. I understand the temptation. But when he came back, something had changed. Because Zach is a very kind-hearted person. So is Aaron and Nick. They're all, well, of course, Nick's no longer there, but they're very, very kind. When he came back, he was not, something had happened to him. His eyes were dilated. I mean, he wasn't gone that long, but it was problematic. So we go to the room. Now, Aaron is one of those people, he's a beautiful soul. Would not hurt anybody. But I remember him when I was doing the minor rite. I remember him kind of looking over, because this was just us. This was back in the day when it was just them. They didn't have a whole staff and sound guys, and they didn't have all that stuff. It was just them. And and Aaron kept looking over and looking around the camera, looking at me, and he gave me a look that just could kill. I mean, it was I've never seen, because that's not Aaron's style. And I knew Aaron was in trouble. So it got so bad that when Zach kind of had his issue, that was it. I said, you guys, I have to cut cameras, because if you don't, then I can't be there. So we agreed to that prior to me showing up at Bobby Mackey's, that if something were to happen, I want all cameras cut. And they respectfully did that. Not one time did Zach or any of the guys ever ask me to say this or do this or turn that way or pretend that, because if they did, I would have walked out. Because I have spent over 20 years building up I have my integrity. I built up a reputation for being a credible clergy member, and I'm not going to throw that out to be on television, because there's no paycheck for it. There's no people that you do this for celebrity status. You do things to become a celebrity so you can make money. I don't charge. It's kind of hard to make a lot of money when you don't charge. So celebrity status means nothing to me. Nothing. So I'm certainly not going to throw 20 years of work down the drain just to be on television. Don't think so. Not for anybody. And not only that, but I think it would be making a mockery of the ministry. So if anybody had ever said, well, pretend this and pretend, I would have said, you know what? I'm out of here. Goodbye. See ya. I'm not participating in this. Never once did they tell me anything. They never one time did they ever say, fake this or do it this way. They'll give me a script. As a matter of fact, I'm the one who told them, this is what we're doing. Okay. So I'm going to make that. So anybody who says, oh, you weren't there. I was. And I'll tell you straight out, if it was scripted, I'll tell you. If it was scripted, I wouldn't have been there. But there was no script. No one told me what to do. They respected the space. They respected the right. There was nothing at all fake about what you saw at Bobby Mackey's. At all. So, well, thank you very much. So anyway, I think that's just important to make sure people understand that, because I still get people, saying that. It's like ridiculous. Nothing has ever followed me home, but I got to tell you something. The one place that I do not go to at night. Well, thank you very much, my brother. The one place that I will never go to at night, and I've talked about this. As a matter of fact, we are the ones that I am the one actually named it. Well, I can't. So it's the Gates of Hell Cemetery. So the Gates of Hell Cemetery is in Kentucky. And 20 years ago, when I did online radio, because online radio was in its infancy then, a family asked us to go there because people were doing things they shouldn't have done. Satan. There's a lot of rituals, bad rituals there. So we went there, and all hell broke loose. I mean, that place. If you've ever seen the movie Silent Hill, that is that cemetery. Because during the day it's one place, but at night it comes alive. It is a different world. And so we went on to the radio when we had our online radio at that time, and on a network, and I remember we were talking. I was like, "Man, this is like the gates of hell." And I was like, "That's it. So that is how the gates of hell got its name. The Gates of Hell Cemetery in Kentucky, known as KC Cemetery. Do not go. I'm telling you, don't go. So that is a I'm telling you guys, don't go. Because if you do, even after I said don't, and then you contact me and say, well, Bishop Long, I went to Gates of Hell Cemetery and now I have some major issues. I need you to fix it. I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry, but I can't. Because right now I have 21,000 emails and I'm so bombarded with requests. There's no way. I can't. So I'm letting you guys know right now, stay away from that place. I will not go there at night because there are things in that location that I can't define. To this day, I can't define it. There are things that I saw as well as other people saw. We cannot define it. We don't know what it was. So I think if you can define it, it's one thing, but you can't. And I will not go there. That is a place. You go there at night, you are purposely asking for trouble, and you will find it. Nope. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to. No. Nope. Listen to this. I want to. I want to talk about that tomorrow because that's a really cool topic for tomorrow night. By the way, so we're not leaving yet. We still have some time. Yeah, you're right. I will not, Archbishop. I will not go there at night. It is. You can watch it on my YouTube. If you go to my YouTube channel, I did a little documentary there, and you can see it. I didn't go there at night. But no. That place makes Bobby, and I've said this before, that place makes Bobby Mackey's looks like Disney World. Bobby Mackey's doesn't even compare to this location. Well, that's what I tried to do, Captain. Someone had asked me if a family member had relatives buried there many years ago, because it's no longer an active cemetery as far as people are not buried there anymore. And it was an old abandoned cemetery. No one even knew it existed over 20 years ago in the paranormal community. And we found it because a family had contacted us because people were going to that location and desecrating the graves and doing satanic rituals. As a matter of fact, I'll do another presentation on that. I actually broke down a satanic altar, which I took several items, and maybe one day I'll bring them and show them with you, or show them to you guys again. But this place, no, it's it is a bad place. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit about this. Hold on one second. I'm trying to find a really cool. I'll just do it. There is a new published archive that has detailing, and guys, you might want to check this out if you're interested in this topic. MK Ultra. Boy, I tell you what, something is very strange about that. MK Ultra. This was a true thing. So I have, yes, yeah, JJO. Still am Catholic. So yeah, I studied for the Roman Catholic priesthood for 6 years. I received my minor orders, and it was during graduate school that God was pulling me in this world. So over many years ago. So I thought, okay, God, 23 years ago. 24 years ago. Good grief. 25 years ago. So I said, okay, here's the deal. Listen to this. This is by T.K. Randall. A newly published archive details CIA's MK Ultra mind control program. Oh, I've always known, JJ. I knew I wanted to be a priest when I was 5. And I was one of those nerdy kids that was always at the neighborhood branch library, and I began to read books on demonology, and even at 9 years old, and I just kept reading and reading. Okay, so let's get into this one. So MK Ultra, for those of you who don't know, for 2 decades, the CIA conducted secretive experiments into mind control and psychological manipulation. True story. The highly controversial and clandestine program, which was founded in 1953, continued into 1973, involved the use of various mind-altering substances, procedures, and techniques to control and manipulate individuals, in many cases outside their knowledge or consent. Now, when details of the program were later uncovered by the New York Times, the CIA was subject to accusations of abuse of power, and its actions were condemned as a violation of human rights. Now, 50 years on, the National Security Archive has published online a treasure trove of documents and files pertaining not only to MK Ultra, but to several other similar CIA programs. So here are the code names. You can Google this if you want. Under code names that included MK Ultra. So just type in National Security Archive MK Ultra. Also, Bluebird. Bluebird. The next one was Artichoke. And the CIA conducted terrifying experiments using I can't say this word, but because of TikTok. Anyway, hypnosis, isolation, sensory deprivation, prescriptions that perhaps were not prescribed, and other extreme techniques on human subjects, often U.S. citizens who frequently had no idea what was being done to them or that they were even a part of the CIA test. So the archive actually wrote this. And of particular note in the new archive are documents pertaining to the CIA's establishment of interrogation teams who would use the polygraph substances and hypnotism to brainwash individuals, as well as those concerning clandestine experiments in which federal prisoners were given extremely large doses of mind-altering substances to find out what would happen. Quote, "It is a story about secrecy, perhaps the most infamous cover-up in the agency's history," the archive wrote. It also history marked by near total impunity at the institutional individual levels for countless abuses committed across decades, not during interrogations of enemy agents or in wartime situations, but during ordinary medical treatments, including prison hospitals, addiction clinics, juvenile detention facilities, and in many cases led by top figures in the field of the behavioral sciences. So you can go to the archive's website, and this is truly problematic. And but yeah, just that's all you have to do is type in CIA archives, CIA archives, and it's all there. It's all listed. I mean, that's a problem. As a matter of fact, here is I can't do it here for you guys on TikTok, but I can do it for you guys here on Facebook, YouTube, and all that other stuff. Let me just see if I can do this 1 second. It does a lot. I don't even know if you can even. So there it is. I don't know if you can even, but it's nsaarchive.gwu.edu, and then you can go into the briefing book and DNSA intelligence and CIA behavior control experiments. Anyway, so you have to just look that. But it's on for those on your Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. It's for you guys, so you guys can see that. But yeah, that is insanity. So the source is nsaarchive.gwu.edu. So this is a legitimate case. I have actually I did a presentation on the Illuminati. Yeah, we talked about the Illuminati, and what someone sent me some really strange thing. I don't know what that was a really thing, but okay. By the way, this is really, really interesting to talk. Oh, and don't forget, everybody, next week, Mr. Producer has just informed me earlier in the show that our friend Andrea Perrin, who grew up in the Conjuring house, she has 3 phenomenal books out: House of Darkness, House of Light. It's on Amazon. Do yourself a favor and pick those up. They're really, really fantastic books. She is going to talk about her experience growing up in the actual Conjuring house. So, because she was one of the kids that grew up there, so you might want to make sure you remember next week, and that's going to be, of course, on the 17th, and we'll still be on TikTok. We'll see what happens. For those of you on TikTok, you need to go to my profile, and I have a link tree there. Make sure you're following me. I just signed up for an app called Fan Base. It's an app. It's very similar to TikTok. I looked at it earlier today. It's about as close as you get to TikTok. And there's a couple other apps that are coming out. So we'll see. We don't know. Hang tight with me. Let me get through this real quick, and then we're going to be wrapping things up here pretty soon. This is by TK Randall. Mystery drones, by the way. For those of all these mystery drones, well, TK Randall says they're part of a fake alien invasion cover-up, claims a ufologist. A major figure on the UFO scene has put forward what he thinks is the real story behind the recent drone crisis. Exactly who or what is responsible for the recent wave of drone sightings over the U.S. and beyond continues to remain something of an enigma, with authorities left struggling to offer a definitive explanation for the phenomenon and the general public continuing to demand answers. Well, the drones, which have been sighted in large numbers in some cases, seems to be able to evade interception and have appeared over air bases and other sensitive facilities worldwide. Now, Dr. Stephen Greer, a prominent UFO researcher and founder of the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, which is CSETI, has weighed in on what he thinks is going on. Greer has long argued that the U.S. government has been withholding information about UFOs. And speaking to Rob Fennery at Newsmax recently, he suggested that the drone incursions are designed to spark fear of an alien invasion in order to cover up the fact that U.S. weapon manufacturers have been working on a clandestine projects involving secretive advanced technologies for decades. He also believes that details of this will come to light within the next month or so. Says, quote, "We have a team about 6 different black sites that have been running illegal projects related to so-called UAPs and UFOs," he said. "Coming forward in the next 30 days or so, they will bring forth positive evidence for this and the fact that these programs have been run illegally and outside of constitutional oversight. Now, as things stand, we still don't really know if the drone sightings are even connected to the UFO phenomenon. Some argue, for example, that they could have be evidence of interference by foreign countries such as Russia or China. If more details about the alleged UFO cover-up actually do come to light within the next 30 days, however, we won't have much longer to wait to find out." So there's something that's going to be happening within the next 30 days. A lot of people who are in the know-how and they know the things behind the scenes, there's a lot of people saying something is going to happen. Just be looking out. In the next 30 days, something is going to happen. We'll talk. Also, I have an article about that tomorrow, too. So we have a lot going on. For those of you on Spreaker, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys who are listening on podcast. Keep in mind that all the presentations, except for night prayer, they are all podcasted. So you can go to Bishop James Long, LONG.com, bishopjameslong.com, and you can click on the Spreaker. I think I still have that. Maybe if I don't, I have to fix that. And you can watch or listen to all the podcasts. So I don't know if I have that or not. I think I took that down. Nonetheless, tonight we do have night prayer. So please join us. It will be running on my Facebook, on TikTok, in my Instagram and Twitter account and Rumble. So we start you guys around 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and our night prayer starts at 10 p.m. And then tomorrow we're here. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have open mic night. Judy Ann's with me. I don't know if Miss Wilma will see. For the first 30 minutes, we goof off, tell some jokes, try to put a smile on your face. And then, of course, I go right into the demonology, paranormal. I have a lot of articles I didn't get to today, and we'll answer some of your questions. How's that? Okay, for those of you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Rumble, and KGRADB Radio, remember your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You are priceless, and don't let any troll tell you or convince you otherwise. Good night.